everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jim, and welcome to the underside of my wife's 2010 Prius. So it just hit 150,000 miles, so I am going to be changing the engine oil and the transmission fluid in it. So this is what I'm dealing with. I'll give you a little better shot of it here. So on the underside of the Prius, there's a very large panel here covering the whole underside. I like the newer ones a lot more because this is the panel for the oil change, and it's designed to remove some clips, but it just folds down. Doesn't get all the way out of the way. All the newer cars have a panel that completely removes, which is much nicer than this one. But I usually get by with just doing that for the oil, but since I'm doing the transmission, I need to take this whole thing off. Much easier with my lift. First time I'm doing it this way, but there are a bunch of 10 millimeter bolts that are right up in there. And then there's more that are right here. There's a couple that go into these spots. And then there's a whole bunch of clips like this that are all the way around the perimeter. So there's another one right there. And they're all over on this side too. So, and on the back side, you can see them right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those removed, and we'll take this whole panel off and we'll have access to everything. So the panel is off now. And the best tip I can give you is just kind of work around the perimeter of it, and it'll start to sag a little bit and then kind of go all the way around. And there are one or two that are kind of holding it up in the middle here too. And once you pop them, it'll just slide right out of the way. So here's the transmission. On the transmission, the one thing I can tell you is always, always, always undo the fill plug first, because if you can't, you don't want to drain out the fluid and then realize you can't get the fill plug off. So make sure that you do that in that order. Once you loosen the fill plug and get it off, then go ahead and drain it out, and then you're good. Pop that back on and then fill it. So anyway, let's go ahead and get some oil draining out of there. So first thing we want to do is make this 14 millimeter bolt off. If done right, it should not be super tight. Try to get the oil lined up to fall into this properly. It's definitely, yeah, woo. See, definitely warm since I just drove it. Okay. So that's falling in. All right, we'll let that drain out and we'll spin the filter off. So here's the oil filter. So I just changed the filter on there. You just unscrew this with the right tool, replace the internal filter and washer, and spin it back on. And then here is the drain plug, just put that back on. So everything's tight down here on the bottom. You just have to fill it from the top. So now the big thing is the transmission fluid. All right, here is the transmission. Looking at the transmission from the front of the car. So here's our oil pan, which we just changed drain the oil out of. So you come back, and it's kind of tricky because this looks like a drain plug too, but the actual one to drain the transmission fluid is right there. So it's kind of a vertical on the side. So, and you can see it right there. The fill plug is right up by the drive shaft. And you can see it on it. There it is. So, and there's that. So it's this one right here. So, and so that's what you want to take off first. We want to take the fill plug off first, making sure we can fill it before we drain out everything. So let's go ahead. And they're almost, you know, there's the drain, and then the fill is just right up next to it. So this takes a 10mm Allen socket. So there is our, and that broke loose pretty dang easy. So now, got this inserted into the, oh look at that, that broke loose really easy too. Now I have changed this before myself, so they weren't over torqued or anything like that. So go ahead and open this up. So I'll make sure I kind of get the arc of the splash here. Here it comes. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. So this one is really nice because the hybrids like the Prius and any other Toyota hybrid are all what they call eCVTs, and they are simple drain and fills. And they use the standard, world standard automatic transmission fluid like the automatics that Toyota has. So it makes this job nice and quick and easy. So here is the drain plug that I pulled off, and you can see that there's a metal washer on it. It's an aluminum crush washer, and so I always replace these. These are dirt cheap. I get them from the dealer, and a lot of Toyotas use this size on transmission gaskets. So I just pick up and always have some on in my garage and for these procedures. So I bought 6 not long ago. So I use a new one on both of them, the drain and the fill. So slide that one off and put this one on. There we go. Now we're set. So now all I got to do is screw this on. Like I said, this is the drain one. So you got to put this back on and snug it up so you can fill it. And this is just like a manual transmission where you fill it until it overflows. So if you don't have a lift like this, you need to get the car level on jack stands. So, and I've done it that way before. This is the first time I've been able to use my lift. So, but once you do that, then it's the same procedure. So now I'm going to do this a little differently. So we'll snug that up. Now that is ready to go. So, and if you remember, here is my, there it is right there. So there's my fill hole. And a lot of people will use a pump, and I'm telling you right now, that's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to show you my little trick. So this is my little contraption. So it's a simple funnel with a piece of clear tubing. And what I do is I run this from above here, and then I put it into the fill hole, and then I can fill it up from above, and I don't have to be sitting there pumping all of the fluid in, which, like I said, is a real pain in the butt. So you can see my tubing right there. It almost went. It came down right above the hole. So what I do is I just stick this in there. So just like that. Now instead of sitting here having to fuss with it, I can lower this and lower the car back down and just fill from above. It's pretty slick. So what I do, so this is down into the fill hole, and I just run up. I use this little bungee strap just to hold it so I can pour my transmission fluid. I have 4 quarts of this. This is what it takes. These are not very expensive. Bought these a year ago or so, but I think they were like $8, $9, something like that. They weren't terribly expensive, so got them from the dealer. So we'll go ahead and start filling. Alrighty. There's one. I won't bore you with all these, so I'll go ahead and fill the rest. And you fill it until it starts to drip out. Once it starts to overflow, you know that's enough. So you can see that it's dripping down, so it has hit the full mode. If I pull this out a little bit, there's still some in the tube, and I've got a drain pan underneath me here, so I can pull this out and let the last of it drain into the, there we go. There we go. Not much. Just a little bit. So we'll let that drip into there. And I'll wipe this out. There's my plug, my fill plug with a new washer. So put that on, wipe this up, and we'll be done. So, as a roundup, we've got the oil changed, new oil filter right here, and we drained out the transmission fluid here, and we refilled it right here. And so the transmission has new fluid in it, so it's ready to go. So the only thing I have to do under here still is I need to go ahead and reinstall the cover. So, and it's just a bunch of clips and some 10mm screws, so it won't take long. And there's always these little clips, they either break or fall out, or they crack because they get brittle over the years. Make sure you always have some extra ones with you. They're very cheap on eBay. So on the Prius, this is what a bunch of them look like. And I think I got a bag of 100 of them for literally a few dollars years ago. So, and that is it, guys. Super, super easy maintenance. So that's our 150,000 mile fluid change, and we'll be good to go for quite a while again. Although engine oil I do every 5,000 miles, so all right. And no more than 50,000 miles on the transmission fluid. So she's purring like a kitten. Got all the clips on, all the screws on where they go, and even replaced a couple. You can see the brand new ones. So, and we are set. So underneath is all tied up. So now, just need to grab all my tools and get them out from under here. And I can drop this, drop the lift back down all the way and fill it up with oil, because I still haven't put oil in it. I put the transmission fluid in it, but I gotta do the oil and we will be set. So thank you guys for joining me. And for any of you that have a third gen Prius from 2010 to 2015, this just goes to show you how simple this maintenance is. Keep your transmission in good running order and give it some fresh fluid and you're good to go. So if this helped you, you liked it, please hit the like and subscribe. Help me grow my channel, guys. And until next time, as always, we'll see you down the road. Thank you much.